Hey guys, still here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Today I have the 4th Spanish Armada, which is a scenario that was thought up by Throck Morton after I asked about what sort of scenario or what sort of custom battle you guys would like to see. It's the 4th Spanish Armada, so it's round 4 between the Spanish Navy and the Royal Navy. It's a rematch that's been 300 years in the making. I'll be playing as Spain. My fleet's technology is slightly ahead of the British by 10 years. So this is going to give me a distinct tech advantage, and I might need that because I'm outnumbered. Now, Throck did a really good job in his description outlining exactly how many battleships, heavy cruisers, lights and destroyers I have, and did the same for the British. So the lineup that you see over here is what we're going to have. The British have 1 battleship more, they have 1 battlecruiser more, they have 1 heavy cruiser less, they have a light cruiser more, and they have 6 destroyers where I only have 2. So they definitely have an advantage in numbers. I'll be designing the Spanish battleships myself due to my numerical disadvantage, as was written up by Throck. It'll be important to take advantage of your decade newer technology and make sure the battleships can take a beating while also be able to dish out some solid damage. Alright, so let's start designing. With keeping in mind that I need to be effective against battleships, so I'm thinking 15-16 inch guns and a bunch of secondaries, to make sure I can also hold my own against the other ships, especially the lights and the destroyers. I might still have escorts, but I don't know how long those are going to last. The victory condition is to sink the entirety of the British fleet. So if even one makes an escape, I'm going to have a failure of this particular mission. Now there's one thing that was not outlined by Throck, and that's how much I have in maximum weight displacement, as well as money. It's very hard to put a cap on that, but if you don't put some sort of cap on it, I can do stuff like this. I can build a 69,000 ton battleship, and I can just spend on it as much as I like. I don't, however, think that a 69,000 ton battleship is really what they would have in 1935, or what would particularly work with this scenario. So let's go for, let's say 55,000 tons. Speed. I do need enough speed in order to get closer to the enemy ships and make sure they can't run away, but I don't need that much speed because the British are from 1925, so they won't have those incredibly powerful engines. Their only exception is probably the battlecruiser, because the AI seems extremely excited being able to build 40-45 knot battlecruisers. Alright, let's go for maximum bulkheads. As for engine type, let's see, I know that I have too much weight on this, although I can slide this up as high as I want, of course. Let's go for Marine Diesel 2. Oil, forced boilers. Then we're going to come to the auxiliary engines. These make the ship more expensive. They also make your engine weigh a little bit more, but I kind of saved a bunch on that by going for the Diesel 2. Let's go for an auxiliary diesel engine. And propeller shaft, let's say propeller shaft 1. I don't really want to be investing too much. I know that I can just hit the 3rd or the top upgrade on everything, but I'm trying to more or less stick to what Throck had outlined and what I think his overall idea was when he designed the scenario. Grip 4 armor, barbette. Maybe heavy barbette thickness. Anti-torpedo bulge, yeah, I'll definitely take some torpedo protection because they got those light cruisers and 6 destroyers. Even if they don't get too close, they can still be quite risky with torpedoes. So let's put anti-torpedo protection 3. Triple hull. Reinforced bulkheads, yeah, I'm gonna go with 2, anti-flood 1. And citadel, I can only pick 3, 4 or 5. Let's go with an armored citadel. So not quite the same thing that I normally go with, which is turtleback or all or nothing. I'm going to try something else. Shell type. Heavy shells. Propellant. How about white powder? Highly effective material uses either explosive charge or propellant, safer in storage than earlier gunpowder. We are in 1935 though. 2 powder. These give you 10.5% more shell penetration. Yeah, this is an interesting combination. You can have this in combination with light shells and retain your armor penetration. Let's see. Normally, standard shells, light shells have a -5% shell penetration, but that's get buffed by the 10.5 buff from tube powder. Heavy shells get 7.5 and super heavy get 12.5. Okay, in that case I'm going to go with standard shells, but I will bring a lot of them. As for tech, let's go for Generation 2 radar. I have the advantage here, so I might as well get it. The advanced radio telegraph and the rangefinder. Base accuracy. I'm not going to go really for long range accuracy because we're operating at about 15 clicks out, so the coincidence rangefinder 5 might be all that I need. Okay then, let's get designing. Main tower. I haven't seen this main tower before yet, I think. That looks good. Alright, secondary tower. Let's try to get that quite close. How are those life rafts stuck inside my main tower? By the time that this ship is done taking fire, there won't be any life ships or life rafts left. So it's amusing that they're here, but I don't think they're going to be there particularly long. Okay then, what do I need for funnel capacity? Is one super large funnel going to fit it? Yes, it is. I do not have the room on the secondary island to bring another, so it's just going to have to be one. Then, barbettes. I actually want to play around with the tall secondaries for the barbettes. Oh, you can place those here? Really? Is that new? Because I don't think I was able to do that before. Does that mean I can fit... What is that, 5-inch on there? Ooh. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I also want to try and do the same thing over here. So if I set up, let's say, a centerline triple barrel, and then fit the barbettes again. No, that doesn't work. There was a tower or a hull mount where you could actually do this. But I still haven't quite figured out when it does work and when it doesn't work. Oh, there. You need to set up a barbette first. Alright, if that's what that is, then I might be able to make that work. If I just bring these slightly farther back. Oh, my main tower cannot go farther back. Okay. But maybe this barbette is a bit big. What if I go for a standard, then a tall barbette? Yeah, there we are. I'm gonna go for a design that I normally don't use, which is to have a set of bigger guns on the bow, but super firing secondaries. Oh, I hope this thing can rotate. It looks like it's wedged pretty closely between this and the barbette over here. There. Alright, because I want to try and get another, let's see, 8-inch secondary on here. It is a Mark IV, range 14.4 kilometers. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Alright, can I fit the same thing here, I wonder? No. My secondary tower is taking up way, way, way too much room. If I go for a smaller secondary tower... Does it fit? No, can't do it. Alright, in that case, I'll go for just your standard, let's say the standard upgraded modern secondary tower. Yes, with some room for the lifeboats. And then set up a turret, triple inch, or triple, what did I bring? 15-inch. Ooh, my aft weight offset's pretty high. Unfortunately, I cannot bring that further anymore. I might be able to put another gun on the bow. Oh, I have a massive 4 weight offset though. Some guns have port fields of fire. Which one? Because it's not this one. It's not that one. Nope. Is it this one? Which gun is the game talking about? Because it really doesn't want to spell it out. It sucks that I cannot do the same thing here. Oh well. What else can I add to this ship? I still have 10,000 tons left, and I still don't have a lot of secondaries beyond this one. I don't think I can fit 8-inch secondaries here, because it's just going to take up a bit too much room. Well, sort of. If I put it right on the edge of the ship, I can get away with it. There. And then another one, let's say here, if that fits. Normally the game removes the... There we go. Removes the lifeboats. I was just waiting for that to happen. That's the big one. Can I put these here? Because that would allow me forward firing. If I'm pushing in, that would be very handy. Why do I now have a port weight offset? Sometimes the game seems to be in symmetry mode, and yet doesn't actually use the symmetry mode. How much of a gun can I fit on there? Okay, not 8-inch, not 7, 6-inch. Unfortunately, it seems to be too close to the island that it cannot fit there. Not 5-inch either? Come on now. Then why would I even have one of these? Because I think they look really good. Whoops. I think the game could still really benefit from a Ctrl-Z option. Alright, so let's try setting up those short barbettes first. This one's useless. This one might have a function, depending on whether I can still fit an 8-inch. Alright, let's go for the double, because it's slightly less fat. Oh, getting a good field of fire here is going to be really hard with that thing there. Alright, back to the original plan. And then just throw in a 5 or a 6-inch here between. And on the stern, let's go for another couple of double 8s. Can I go? Actually, a triple might be better, because then I have all that 8-inch ammo, which is being shared. Otherwise, I'm going to have 8-inch double ammo and 8-inch triple ammo. It's not going to get shared. And that would be a problem. Right, what do I have for guns now? That's the weight and costs. 3 times 3 15-inch guns, 24 8-inch guns, and 4 6-inch guns. It looks like this place doesn't really have room to fit 2-inch guns. Or 4-inch. Oh, actually, no. Here. I can still have a couple of 4-inch. There seems to be all sorts of slots over here, but they're just not really open to actually putting down a turret. Okay, my 4 weight offset's still 1.6. I think that's as good as I'm gonna get it. 0.4. There we go. Right, 8,000 tons left. I'm fighting at relatively close range, which means deck armor is not that important. Belt armor will be all the more important. And then belt extended. 9 inches. Turrets are already manned up with 15 inches of armor. Let's go with secondaries as well, because I have a lot of them. Let's just put on 10 inches of secondary armor. Turret top armor, again, not that important. 15 inches of conning tower armor. How about torpedoes? I have 4 slots. And I still have a lot of weight to play around with. Torpedo size. 23-inch. Propellant. Oh, nice. I have access to the oxygen-fueled torpedoes already. They're going to make them heavier. They're going to do 50% more range. Is that worth it? This means I have 22-kilometer range. I'm not likely to use that much. Electrics. Electrics give me 13-kilometer range. That's enough. I still have so much weight left. Let's just reduce that a bit more. Oh, 53,000 tons the limit. Oh crap, I still need to upgrade all of this. There, that got the ship a little heavier. Maybe a bit more belt armor then. I wonder if the Brits are going to be able to do a lot of damage against these ships, because they seem to be very heavily armored at this point. They're also going to cost me 87 million a pop. Fortunately, money is not an object here. Ah, there we go. 26,000, well, no, 26 knots, not 26,000 knots. Be a bit fast. I think we're good to go. I'm just going to leave the ship like this. 15-inch guns, main guns, in order to deal with the battleships. 8-inch secondaries, and a lot of them. I have the 6-inch gun over here, which can also keep the destroyers at bay. I have a dual 4-inch gun. Let's do it. And now I wonder what sort of allies I'm going to get. Same design as the torpedoes that I picked, which means electric torpedoes, which means that my DDs are going to be very powerful. Okay, here we go. We already have the contacts. Our battleships are the Halcon and the Ángel de la Guarda. We have a couple of heavy cruisers, 8-inch primary armament. Lots of them too. 6 turrets. The thing is, they need to be pretty much broadside to fire all of those. I like this design. 4-inch secondary. A lot of 2-inch guns. With so much ammo that the game is even struggling to put all of that indicator on the screen. Underwater torpedo tubes and torpedoes closer towards the bow. Torpedo visibility minus 38%. Speed. Yeah, these are 22 kilometer range torpedoes. That's very far. Light cruisers. Favorita and Galicia. 7-inch guns. 2-inch secondary. Sort of. And the destroyers. The Lares has 8.1 kilometer range. Okay, so they're starting to split up the type of torpedo launchers. Or the type of torpedoes. These don't have a lot of range, but they're very quick. They're also very easy to see. 50% more visibility. Alright, the enemy has been spotted to this side. Which means they're coming up on me. This looks like the line of battleships. I'm seeing 6 guns. That seems to go for all of them. Yeah, 6 guns, a bunch of secondaries. I'm thinking 2 or... these could be 2. Then this must be 3 or 4. Same here. Displacement unknown. Heavy cruisers. Is that 8-inch? So 12 8-inch guns. Yeah, that's another one of those. Where's your battle cruiser? This is definitely not a light cruiser. This might very well be the battle cruiser. Including torpedo launchers, amidships and on the bow. Interesting setup here. Big elevated turret with a couple of small secondaries around it. Don't think I've ever seen one of those before. Alright. Fleet. We are gonna have to start maneuvering. I want the DDs to start actively screening. We have the Favorita and the Galicia. I want those guys to be closer to the battleships to make sure that the DDs cannot get close. And the heavy cruisers are opening up at 16.5, so they have the range. I want you guys to try and sink the smaller ships early on. And slow down to 20 knots. Battleships, slow down to 20 knots. Light cruisers can do 32.5 tops, and these things can do 39, the DDs. So a lot of fast boats. And here we go. We're definitely opening up early, but so are they. First actual damage on what I think is a heavy cruiser. But it's hard to tell. It could be a light, since they still have quite a few lights here. This is probably a destroyer with 6 torpedo tubes. The thing is almost dead in the water. Oh shit, I already took a bunch of damage here. 16-inch shells from a battleship hit me. And having my light cruisers actually ram my battleships is not helpful. It's going to be pretty hard to manage all of these ships, because there's a lot going on. These guys are in smoke. This guy's hard to pen. Let's go for this one. Look at this whole fleet here. I'm down to 86. I took another 16-inch shell. So that whole... I wonder how much armor these things are going to need. Well, more, apparently. Alright, destroyers. You're going to be operating very close to the enemy. I want you to try and torpedo this warship here. Because if you don't hit this one, you can still get torpedoes on the warship behind it. Provided that we're going to get a little closer. Let's smoke up. So I'm doing 39 knots. And at the same time, smoking up. 7 clicks. .5, they're not yet in range. Turn to port. Let's get ready. Oh, that hurt. Torpedo away. On what the game is not quite sure of whether it's a battleship or a battle cruiser. Let's turn back. And I'm not sure if that's how I'm supposed to pronounce that. So far I haven't scratched the battleships at all. That's curious. I thought I'd be doing a bit more damage than this. Alright, light cruisers, slow down a bit. Heavies are still working away on one of their heavy cruisers. No, on a light cruiser. The Psyche. Okay, so the Psyche at least does not have any sort of torpedoes. That's helpful. The Nemesis does. They fire out to a range of 6.5. Heavy cruisers, engage the Nemesis. Okay, this battleship... Battle cruiser. Oh, this is the battle cruiser. The battle cruiser has probably spotted the torpedoes and is turning away. Lobregat has also fired. But I think that the battle cruiser is going to be pretty easily evading all of that. Is that a torpedo? Those are in fact torpedoes, yes. Okay. Good that I know about those early. Now I can turn away. Battleships. Engage the Bellerophon. Because I think at this range we're just not making a dent in these battleships. Identification is almost there, so very soon I'll be able to see what sort of ship I'm fighting. It looks like all of these have spotted the torpedoes, or at least are responding to them. So I'm breaking up the formation a bit, causing these ships to turn, and hopefully if they're not quite capable of turning those turrets around fast enough, they might not be able to get those guns on target, which saves me a bit of fire. I just hope it's enough. I think these torpedoes are going to run out pretty quick. Hopefully they're going to hit the battleship here, but I very much doubt it. I don't think I have the range. The Revenge hasn't spotted them? It is trying to turn to starboard. What sort of caliber is that? 23 inch. Really? Are we going to get away with this? Yeah, it looks like it. Hit, hit, hit. Whoa! That is a lot of damage to the Revenge. Let's see, it has few bulkheads. If it's not able to control this flooding, that could be the demise of the Revenge there. The other torpedoes were just utterly wasted. I still have my heavy cruisers. They also have torpedoes. Where are those torpedo launchers positioned? There. Alright, is there any way I can hit my own ships? Yes, the light cruisers are in the way. Turn to port. The DDs have dealt a beautiful blow against the Revenge here. She's still flooding. 47, 45. That could be a great way to get rid of a battleship early. And the Bellerophon could be very soon to follow, because it took a couple of big hits from battleships. And with minimum bulkheads, she's in an even worse position than Revenge to try and counter that. So I think that the Bellerophon will be the first casualty here. There she goes. Bellerophon is down. Look at that. The game really does look pretty. In case you have the game and you want to turn off the HUD, it's Control-Shift-Alt-Z. That allows you to turn off the HUD, and that allows you to take some really pretty screenshots. Alright, DDs, keep falling back. Don't do anything stupid. Fall back. We have a lot of fire going in on the Africa. She's burning pretty much from stem to stern. With few bulkheads, that could cause a lot of damage. I think this is the fire that's coming in from all the heavies. All the heavy cruisers. If this ship does not get the fires under control quickly, it might be overwhelmed by the amount of fires that are currently being set on it. Look at that. That is what happens when you get 4 heavy cruisers, all firing their 8-inch. And they were packing 12 guns. With a reload of only 15 seconds. So it's just massive volleys. Alright, heavy cruisers. I want you to start moving this way. The lights are out of the way now. Well, mostly. My battleships are trying to kill a destroyer. Please don't. Please go for something you can actually hit. Pen chance 51. Maintain fire at the Africa. Let's look at this from the perspective of the Africa. That's the Navarra. Here's the Africa. Look at that. This game is so pretty. Now, I haven't posted the link down below in the description for quite a while, so I'll do that on this one. If you want to get this game, you can. It is currently in early access, and it's relatively pricey for early access, but I think it is worth it. I'm getting a lot of entertainment out of it, and it has a high replayability value, because you're just able to constantly generate different fights. Every time that you pull that battle button or that you start a fight, you're going to have a different design for a ship. Both your own, potentially, but also the enemy. Which sometimes makes it really frustrating because you're not able to build against any type of specific ship. But at the same time, it makes it very amusing because the one time you get very powerful allies and maybe just atrociously poor enemies, and vice versa. Let's split off the lights for a bit because I'm seeing these torpedoes come in, and if the Galicia is going to maintain its course, I won't be able to counter that. Favorita. Try to turn away. This is exactly what I wanted my light cruisers to do, to piss off their destroyers. There are more of them. But for now, this one won't be posing too much of a problem. Alright, Favorita is safe. Smoke up. Start heading starboard. Galicia, rejoin with your buddy here. My destroyers have taken some battle damage, but I think I can make another torpedo run. More flooding on the Nemesis. Looks like the Africa is still being subjected to a lot of fire. It's still burning a bit, but not as much. Let's add to that. Go for 15-inch HE shells. Alright, heavy cruisers. Your target is that one. The St. Vincent. Aggressive torpedo launch. I want to see those torpedoes in the water. I have a range of 22 kilometers, so I should be able to get that easily. But I'm not seeing them send those torpedoes yet. Oh shit, there goes the Galicia. What hit you? Oh, you got hit by a 16-inch shell for almost 3,000 damage. Yeah, that would do it. Nemesis is still operational. It's impressive. Africa once again on fire, but so far not really as much as I'd expected. I thought I could quickly burn this thing down, but it looks like that's not happening. Can we hit the Revenge and just kill it off? Heavy cruisers, new target, Revenge. Range 16.5, that's putting that ship out of range. In that case, what's your chance to hit the Rapid? 0.9%. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. Alright, let's go a little bit more aggressive with the heavies. And the battleships. Well, so far they keep pummeling the other one. Smoke up, DDs. You're gonna need it, because there seems to be a main focus on you now. Fire set to the Rapid. And the Favorita is still trying to run away. Favorita, focus on Scimitar. Try to angle away slowly. DDs. I want to try and get some torpedoes launched at the at the light cruisers here. Come left. Target torpedoes on the Pactolus. Fire when ready. I didn't see that second torpedo tube do much. I'm not sure if the game is able to get those torpedoes on target. It looks like the launcher's been damaged. Still, I was able to get quite a few torpedoes away. So let's again turn away. Hold on, what are you launching at? That is. Lobregat. Oh, it's shift right click. Oh, that's why my torpedoes were going all over the place instead of where I wanted them to go. That makes sense. I thought that I had set the torpedoes to be separately targeted at one of those ships. Turns out it was the secondaries. That's why they weren't doing anything. And the secondaries, sure enough, are trying to hit the light cruiser. But it's only 2 inch, so my chances of actually doing damage with those things are really low. It's the torpedoes that I wanted. Lobregat should have torpedo launch. Yep, torpedoes away. Very good. The Nemesis is taking a pounding, but still alive. Torpedo run successful. They're getting really split up now. Could be good, could be bad. Are my heavy cruisers running straight into trouble? Potentially. Oh, they have been torping. Oh shit, they're torping a destroyer. Well, this one is anyway. The Cataluna. So... shift right click. Come right. I heard a torpedo hit. Lobregat. Lerez sinks. Yeah, there we go. The Lerez got hit by a torpedo. Lobregat is probably soon to follow. Because it just doesn't have any survivability left. It did send out a salvo of torpedoes. Ooh. Pactolus takes one torpedo and immediately sinks. The other light cruisers are turning away. The destroyers might yet still be at risk. Yeah, it's already dead, don't worry. Okay, that's another light cruiser dead. For some reason or another, all of these heavy cruisers are just sitting here. I don't quite get what their plan is. There goes the Lobregat. Couldn't save her. Favorita. It's not doing very well either. She's taken a lot of damage. The aft ship seems to have been flooded. Let's see, is the Nemesis dead yet? Yeah, it is. Alright, I want you to start heading back and try to link up with the rest of the fleet. We're still doing damage against that ship, but it's still not enough. The Revenge is still firing. So the Halcon and the Angel are going to have to do a lot more damage than this. The Angel is now being subjected itself to HE fire from all of these heavy cruisers. Come on. There we are, that's better. It has 22 inches of armor. Bloody hell, no surprise I'm not hitting. Or I'm not penetrating. Torpedoes sent from the San Felipe. These are still inside of torpedo range, the Africa and the Vincent. Come on, kill the Revenge. I'm pretty much down to 6 ships, whereas the Brits still have a lot more. No hits. The ship is not quite dead in the water, but it's not going anywhere quick. Revenge, doing about 8 knots. Another salvo from the Halcon and the Angel, but come on! Get the hits in. Not good enough. Torpedoes away on the San Pedro, and torpedoes away on the Navarra. Excellent. Come left. I really want to get those 16-inch guns out of commission. They're not very accurate at the moment, but they don't need a lot of hits in order to be very, very devastating. What are you currently firing at? DDs? Right. Go for the Bacante. Sorry, it's a British ship. The Bachanti, I guess. This thing I can probably not pen. But at least I can force it to start moving. And hopefully you still run into a torpedo or two. Revenge is now flooding again. I think she might sink. 4%, 3%. Torpedo hits. That's one of the torpedoes that was sent out by the heavy cruisers. There she goes. Revenge is gone. Excellent work. Right, next target Is there still a light cruiser around? There is. Alright, engage the light cruiser with the battleships. We're just trying to call their numbers a bit. And in the meanwhile, have the heavy cruisers push into their heavy cruisers. And just finish them off. I don't think that all of this fire is terribly effective. Because my pen chance is so low. So let's just go for straight HE shells. And just burn the thing down. Destroy the secondary gun. She's still flooding. I thought she'd fix that at this point. Destroyed secondary... No, damage to the secondary tower. Fire sets. Alright. I hope that my heavy cruisers still have enough ammo. 900 shells. That should be enough for a while. Standard amount of bulkheads. Still, if you're being subjected to this much fire, I don't think any amount of bulkheads is going to keep you alive for very long. How are you guys doing against that light? Nothing. Or unless we're going for the Pyramus. Yeah, and the 8-inch are also joining in for double the accuracy of the 15-inch shells. There she goes. That's the damage that I'm looking for. Now the DDs seem to be not interested in trying to go for a torpedo attack, which suits me just fine. I don't want to be taking torpedo hits from those things. Alright, back to the heavies. Bacante's still here. Speed it up a bit more. Since I'm just trying to whack a couple of cruisers out of existence. If you guys have your torpedoes ready, then by all means, send them out against the warrior. Send, send, send. Reloading. Pen chance 26. Switch back to AP. Damage to the torpedoes. Torpedoes haven't been launched though. 6.8 kilometer range. How's that light cruiser doing? Not very well. Finally, those 8-inch secondary guns on the battleships are really starting to shine. And really starting to do the job that they were meant to do, which is keeping the lighter ships at range. Favorita. Favorita is missing a lot of modules. And she can't run very well because she can only do 13 knots. There goes the Roxburgh. I did not have my cruisers focus on the Roxburgh, so I think it got torpedoed. Yep, torpedo hit for 1100 damage. Very nicely done, guys. Very nicely done. Damage to the main tower, destroyed the secondary tower. There goes the Pyramus. Thank you, battleships. Job complete. Next target, 8-inch guns on the destroyer, which I think is going to be the Nemesis. Yep, they're going for the Nemesis. A heavy hit on the Nemesis. And I have quite a lot of those 8-inch guns, so there's going to be shells flying all over the place. Unfortunately, the Favorita is currently indeed the Favorita of the enemy. And is not going to be here for much longer. She's flooding again. Speed's going to drop to 10 knots. She's fighting for her life, but it's not enough. Get those guns on the warrior. Bacante's flooding. And on fire. She's still fighting it though. I'm down to 600 shells now. This could be a real problem. Ceasefire on all the torpedo tubes. Because the problem is I still need to do a lot of damage against a lot of battleships. The Africa and the St. Vincent really haven't been taking that much damage. There goes the Favorita. Jeez, could you just give up? No? The amount of shells that are coming in. And the amount of resistance that this ship is offering is impressive. But she's taken up so many shells that I'm really thinking that my cruisers are going to run out of ammo. And that worries me a lot. Because that means that I'm going to have to use the other armaments on the battleships, the secondary guns, to try and get those things under control, those lighter ships. There goes the warrior. That was another torpedo hit. Alright, push in directly towards that heavy cruiser. And same here, because I think we might be seeing the British go on the run again. I don't think they're doing much. They're just trying to get away. More flooding. Target the Picante. Everybody, cease fire. Cease fire on the main guns. That was a good hit from the 15-inch guns on the battleships. 620 damage. I think that kills off all the heavy cruisers from the British. New target, the Africa. The Africa has already taken a bit of damage. The St. Vincent, however, is perfectly fine. That worries me. It's hard to say who's ahead at the moment. What's interesting to see here, by the way, while we're waiting for the ships to close in, is how much damage I did. Overpens did 7.2, penetrating hits did 11.5, and 8 torpedo hits also did 11.5. That's how devastating those torpedoes can be. Ah, here's another destroyer. I still have 600 shells left on the battleship, so that should be enough to keep going for quite a while. I think that torpedoing those battleships with either my own battleships or the heavy cruisers might be my best option. Oh, is this the bug again? Oh, there she goes. I was wondering why she wasn't firing. Sometimes they just cease fire for reasons which I don't understand. Hit the scimitar. Okay, so the British are not running away, in fact. Heavy cruiser still 16 clicks out. Increase the flank. I need you guys over here faster. Halcon destroying the main tower on the scimitar. So they blew up the bridge, pretty much. Africa's taking some decent hits from the 15-inch. I don't like how close this destroyer is going to get. She's capable of doing 41 knots. She has already sent out torpedoes a couple of times, since she's down to just 6. But it's still very uncomfortable having a destroyer this close to my battleships. At this point, the 6-inch and the 4-inch are also opening up, desperately trying to keep the scimitar away from the battleships. Come on, guys, you can do it. Or rather, I need you to do it. So far, both Halcon and Angel have taken some damage. But they're not at risk of sinking anytime soon. Whoa, 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 whoa. The hell was that? Oh, look at this. This destroyer was, I think, trying to smoke up the battleship, which kind of worked. But at the same time, the shells that were meant for the Africa hit the destroyer. That was purely accidental, because these ships were only armed or aimed at the battleship. But I hit that ship for 17,000 damage, so that accidentally blew up the destroyer. Roadkill of sorts. Where are the heavies? The heavies are approaching. Heavies, I need you to open up on this destroyer. They're ideally suited for that. And between the 4 of them, with all of their primes and secondaries, they should be able to put out a hail of fire and just completely screen off the battleship. Halcon, maintain course. Come on, get the thing down. There we go. Flooding. Fire. Accuracy in the 8-inch is variable, but it is rising. That thing's gonna torp. Halcon. Sorry, Halcon. Turn to port. There's the torpedo. Singular? For now, yes. Okay. Heavy cruisers. Turn to port hard. There goes the scimitar. Finally! That ship did a really brave run against my ship. The Psyche does not have torpedoes. Suits me just fine. Heavy cruisers maintain target Psyche. Secondaries from the battleships are also engaging the Psyche. And the mains are still trained on the Africa. Alright, battleships need to slow down a bit, let the heavy cruisers pass, and then we can send with the torpedoes again. So what do they have left? They got a not so rapid destroyer over there, the Versatile, the Ribble, 2 battleships, and 1 light cruiser. Which is now starting to take some damage, and especially rudder damage is not something you want on these lighter ships. Flooding. That's also something you don't want to see because it slows you down a lot. Range against the battleships. 10 kilometers out. Although the Africa seems to have different issues that I might not need to add to with my own torpedoes. Gee, she's listing. Look at that. That's really bad. She's almost awash there. Yeah, I think the Africa's going down soon. Alright, that means that the battle... No, not the battle. The heavy cruisers are going to have to deal with the St. Vincent. Come on, kill off the Psyche. In the meanwhile, heavy cruisers open up against the destroyer. I want the Versatile dead, because she's armed with torpedoes and the Psyche is not. Let the secondaries from the battleships deal with the Psyche. Africa, 6%. Good hit. Versatile took a hit from the 8-inch mains from the heavy cruiser for 1600 damage. She's pretty much down in one go. Now those battleships do have torpedoes. There goes the Versatile. Their position broadside. 2 port, 2 starboard. Range 12. Pretty visible, those things. Alright, let's go a bit risky. I want the battleships trained directly towards the St. Vincent. Heavy cruisers, maintain course. Good damage against the Ribble. The Ribble did just send out a torpedo. It was aimed at a battleship. Halcon, turn far starboard. And slow down a bit more, just to make that turn a bit sharper. Destroy the torpedo tube on the Ribble, and she's down. Very good. Very good. There's the Psyche as well. Torpedoes have been spotted. I think I might be able to squeeze the Halcon through. Rudder maximum starboard. No, I'm going to eat one. Oh. No, yeah, it did hit. Ah, I thought I was going to squeeze it through there. 101 points of damage. She is flooding. Turn back to port. Get your torpedoes away against the St. Vincent. Aggressive launch. It's always hard to get those, let's say, side-mounted torpedo tubes on. There goes the Rapid. Heavy cruisers. The heavy cruisers haven't taken a scratch, really. Okay, so now all we have left is the battleships. And pretty much one battleship at that. Okay, torpedoes away from the Halcon. Turn port. Angel, you can speed up. Increase the flank. turn towards the battleships. Halcon turns towards the battleships. Oh shit, there's torpedoes incoming. I cannot avoid those. That must be the parting gift from the Africa. That's gonna hurt. 1, 2. Should have paid closer attention to that. So the Halcon has now taken on a bunch of water, is flooding, has lost both engines. She still has one engine left. I hope that that's enough. Here's the torpedo salvo from... yeah, from the Halcon. This thing is taking a beating and a half and is still surviving. Let's see, have you also put torpedoes in water? You have. Alright, so I gotta try and get these ships to turn before I eat another torpedo. The heavy cruisers are seriously running out of shells now. I'm looking at 88 shells on the San Felipe. Cataluna down to 176. Pedro down to 20. And the Navarra has no ammo for her 8-inch guns. Okay, that's bad news. Torpedoes avoided by the St. Vincent. There's another torpedo incoming. This time around, it shouldn't pose that much of a risk. At least not to my battleship. San Pedro, detach from the division. Turn to port. Or do I need to... no, I think we can avoid them like that. Cataluna, make sure you keep going. Shit, I took one. Navarra, detach. Detach. Here we go. Angel, go for the St. Vincent. St. Vincent does not have torpedoes ready. Yeah, we're all fine. Torpedoes are going to miss. But the heavy cruisers suddenly lost a lot of their firepower. Alright, I'm gonna have to let the Cataluna and the San Felipe try to get close to the Africa and torp it. While the others are going to try and rush towards this ship, the St. Vincent, and sink that one. There we go. Flooding. That's what I want to see. I want to slow this thing down, so it's going to be easier for my ships to get closer. Torpedo in the water. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do to avoid that with the Halcon. Because she's simply taken on too much water and still has engine trouble. Water's been pumped out, though. Angel, turn port. You got those two guns bow mounted. And this should also be a great opportunity to let all the secondaries rip. Whoa, now she took a big hit. Ammo detonated. Somewhere. Yeah, ammo detonation. For just 79 points though, so it was a minor detonation. But I think that either that or some other hit is causing floodings. Yeah, we're getting belt hits. Cataluna, 8 kilometers out against the Africa. Africa, current speed, 12.8 knots. My torpedoes have a speed of 48 knots. They're not perfectly detectable. Shift right click. I want to be accurate with those torpedoes. I want to make sure that those hit. If I still have the starboard torpedo tube left. Yes! Torpedoes out of the way. And the broadside mounted torpedo tubes, I still have a lot of ammo for them, but they're harder to hit with. Because I need to turn the whole ship broadside in order to get those away. Come on. I want you to do it. There, torpedoes away. Perfect, well done. San Felipe, detach, maintain course. St. Vincent took on such an amount of water that she's going to be flooding to death very soon. So that's the St. Vincent gone. What's your list? Look at that. List of that ship. She's still able to fire though. But if you'd say that this is a sinking warship, then I'd probably still believe you. Such a pretty game. The devs have really done a good number on this one. There goes the St. Vincent. Alright, so now it's waiting for the torpedoes to go for the Africa. I have some hopes for these, but I think this cluster is going to deal the last blow that it needs. Captain's been killed. No, the conning tower's been damaged. Captain killed on the bridge is war game, it's not this game. Torpedo is going to hit him towards the bow. This ship too is not doing very well. There we go, 278 points. Torpedo flooding. She's not listing as badly as the others. But that might soon change, because now she's going to take on a bunch of water. There are the other 3 torpedoes. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, there, and there. Oh, beautiful. That was the last of the Africa. And with that, it has been decided. The Spanish won this battle. The 4th Spanish Armada. I went in with 2 battleships, 4 heavy cruisers, 4 destroyers and 2 light cruisers. I lost 6 ships. The British, however, lost 3 battleships, 1 battle cruiser, 3 heavies, 3 lights and 6 destroyers. So whereas I lost 6 ships, they lost 16 ships. So I call that an absolute win for the Spanish. With that, I'm going to end the video, but before I do that, let me remind you that you can request these custom battles. What I need from you is information about what sort of force composition I should be looking for. What type of ships? So, X amount of battleships, X amount of heavy cruisers, battle cruisers, light cruisers, destroyers, potentially torpedo boats, and even transports are an option. What else do I need? What's the age? What's the technology year? Who's fighting who? What is the opening range? This is also helpful, because it allows me to see what sort of ship I need to build. If I know that I'm going to be opening up at ranges, let's say 20-25 kilometer range, then the deck armor is suddenly a hell of a lot more important. Shorter range is going to be belt armor, so I'm going to be building a different ship. And that brings me to what type of ship am I going to build? I've had people request, hey, do Bismarck versus Yamato. I can't, because I can only design one type of ship. So I could design, for example, the battleship, but I cannot dictate what sort of British battleship there's going to be. So that's the limiting factor. Having a backstory also helps. So if you have a good idea for a backstory, like Throck did with saying this is the 4th Spanish Armada, then that helps. And if you have any design limitations that you want me to use, like a weight displacement or cost displacement, or sorry, cost limitation, then that would also help. Because then I know what to build and what not to build and how big to make the ships. For those of you who've been asking, hey, do a battleship with only 2-inch guns? I can't. A battleship always has to have at least 9-inch guns. At least. So building a battleship with just 2-inch guns is not possible. Anyway, if you want to play this game yourself, link down below in the description. You can get the early access package, and with that you can immediately start playing. So if you are indeed in self-quarantine and you want a new game to play, then, well, I highly recommend this one. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall catch you guys soon for another video.